Cameraman Grades, cameramangrades.com, professional consultations for camera operators, video coordinators, and sports video experts at all levels. Find us at cameramangrades.com or contact us directly at cameramangrades@gmail.com for your own sports video consultation. Currently looking for the best camera operator of the 2025 NFL season. These are the best of the best, and we're putting it to the test. Today we're looking at the New York Jets Week 2 versus the Buffalo Bills. Alright, let's just jump right into it. To start, before we even get started at this point, we have a correction to make already. So this is something that is going to be important for anytime you set up your shot. It's going to be important that you level your camera and your tripod. Okay, and that can be difficult because as you pan from from end zone to end zone, you're actually going to see the sideline on an angle depending on the direction, the angle that you're shooting from the press box. Okay, so there is a way to do this, and the simple way to do it is line up at the 50-yard line, and when you point directly across the 50-yard line, you want to take the top of your screen and bring it down to the sideline. Okay, by doing that, you're gonna level your camera to the far sideline. Okay, so this is a critique right here off the bat that we're gonna want to straighten out your tripod so that it's going to be level across the top. The top of the frame is going to be level to the sideline. Okay, so you can see here there's a lot more space here and there's no space here, right? So that would require some adjusting. All right, so let's get started. Okay. All right, so we're out pretty wide to start. Zooming way out off of the kicker. Okay, keeping the kicker in the shot on one side, and then on the other side we are zoomed way past the returners all the way back to the goal post. All right, so let's just bring up the box to start. Okay, that's where the kicker, if we're including the kicker, and that puts you at 70%, right? But if we're not including the kicker, we can shave that all the way down, and really, 21 guys that are going to be involved in this shot is going to be about 50% or less. Okay, so all right. And then zooming in to tighten that up, right? We want to get tighter. Yeah. I mean, my chart doesn't go this low, right? Anything below 50% is obviously failing, but this is more like 30. Okay. There is a lot of room around the edge to show a whole lot more football going on. Less grass, more football. Okay? Okay. All right, so the setup's wide to start. Okay, you got almost 10 yards already to start. You got 7 yards behind the running back, and then the safety's moving at the snap. So you've already lost your 10-yard buffer. You're past that at this point, and now we're into way past 10 yards, and then we've got a whole lot of crowd behind it. So Okay. All right. Interesting. So, this is something I've been saying for a long time. So you have this buffer, right? You got 10 yards, all right? That's right at 10 yards. This is right about 10 yards as well. So you got a 10-yard buffer, and they're definitely pressing that, but then afterwards, they're allowing that buffer to fill in. They immediately moved left, which is from the left-hand side of their screen, moved right. You can see that motion right here at the snap. One. Okay. So, and then they start to zoom out, right? So there wasn't really a need to zoom out at that point, but they were at least using the initial buffer that they had to allow this to frame out, right? And now they're still within 10 yards. So it's not terrible to have it like that. And then look at that. Now they're starting to fill it in, right? This is within 5 yards, and this is within 5 yards. So this is, in so many ways, the right way to do it in using what you've got and not just zooming out to fill in. Punting. Okay, dropping the punter, zooming out, picking the punter back up. Now they should be zooming in here. Okay, really not bad. Okay, got a lot of space behind the running back on the right hand side. Okay, I don't know many plays that are designed to go that direction. If it does go that direction, okay, fixed it. Love it. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So a lot of things that are done really well here. Some things that don't make a whole lot of sense. Okay. Panning left to right at the snap doesn't make sense, right? So you can see we're almost to the 35, 34 yard line at the top of the screen, and then you see that disappear to the 31 before they zoom back out again. So there's no reason to go that direction. They're just kind of responding to this little head fake this direction. Okay, so they got head faked by the quarterback. All right, but we're still within range here, and here for having a good shot. So it's starting to get a little wider at this point. Starting to get really wide at this point, and then at this point now we're past 10 yards, right? So that's where clinging to these guys on the edge is going to make a difference. Quarterback's right on the edge. Okay, let's just bring up the box and see. Oh, the box was really tiny from the last time we used it. All right. Okay, so there's the box. Make sure I got everybody in the shot here, and then just bringing it over, right about 75 to 80%. Okay, so 75 to 80%, it works, but there's definitely plenty of room to improve from that. Okay, this is the best setup I've seen yet. All right. Yes. Hey, breaking loose into the backfield. All right. So right here, kind of the thing I was saying about moving right to left and cutting down that space behind the quarterback. They do it right there, right? That's the motion. They wait for the quarterback to break loose before they do that. So, right, zooming out, keeping a bunch of space here, keeping some space there. If you were to make that motion initially, you wouldn't have to zoom out as much, right? And you could still keep everybody tight to the shot. So that's the benefit of it, you know. And anytime you're not zooming out, you're keeping more detail. You're preserving the detail that you have at that point. All right. So that's right about the point where he starts to pan. All right. So I'm just gonna bring up the box just to see it. Not necessarily saying it's wrong, but how much more space could we get out of it if we, you know, really brought it in? So there, 72%, 73%. Yeah. Okay. Plenty of space that you can bring in and get more detail out of it. Okay. All right. Interested in seeing how wide this goes right there. All right, we've got extra referee on this side, 2 extra referees, and the sky cam on this side. All right, we can tighten all that up as long as there's room for it, top to bottom. Okay, so that's about as far as you can get in tight before you'd be cutting people off top to bottom, and that's at 70%. All right. Okay, getting in tight, good. Oh. I don't know what about the knee-jerk reaction, where that came from off the snap, just knee-jerk. Whoa. Nothing's going that direction. Nothing is going left to right. Okay, just came back this way to see more of this. More of this and less of that. Okay, get up in there. Get up tight. Okay, there we go. A little bit of a buffer. All right. It's workable. Coaches can evaluate from that, right? There's a better way to do it. And there's a more effective way for them to do it. Yes. Okay, no knee-jerk reactions to this whatsoever. Barely moved the camera. All right. Almost no movement here. Look at that. Love it. That's fantastic. I can see everything. I can evaluate off of this, right? There's definitely some extra space here, but top to bottom, you're about as tight as you're going to get. They didn't see any reason to move that direction. They didn't see any reason to move this direction, even though both of those players are pressing those edges. Okay, right here, right on it. Right here, right on it. Okay, look at that. Right on the edge. I love it. Okay, now, plenty of space down here, right? You could tighten this up, but from the initial start, you know, if you tighten this up a little bit to start, you would be in a much better position later on. Okay, they did tighten up a little bit, but you know, I don't mind this shot at all. I really like that they didn't have any knee-jerk reactions, and they just let it play out. I can see number 66 just manhandling the dude right inside there, and he held his ground really well. So I love it. Fourth and 1. Okay? Again, the referees. And then going back to see the referees again. I said it's usable as an evaluation tool. Okay. Space at the bottom of the frame here. A lot of space. Okay. You got more than 10 yards there. You got 7, 8 yards there. And then just a ton of area down to the bottom here. So that's where I would say you could tighten up. But again, I'm seeing numbers. I'm seeing, players, and they're not doing a lot of knee-jerk reactions after the snap. So I'm sure coaches are able to use it. I'm sure they would love it if you got in right up in there and then kept those guys tight and kept them in the shot. Okay? Really wasn't bad. Keeping guys in the shot. There is extra space behind the quarterback. If you're going to have extra space, if you can't go any tighter because the top and bottom, bump that extra space to the defensive side. You can leave a little bit of space behind the quarterback. I really like that play. Okay. Again, the space at the bottom of the screen. I think they're just staying consistent, putting the center of the frame right down the middle of the hash marks, which is fine. You can tighten it up from there by cutting this down and then cutting all this in, right? But I at least understand their process. I don't understand going left or right. Okay, the ball's going this way, that way, going towards the end zone. Okay. The camera is going this way, right, to see this guy. All right, a lot of extra space behind the quarterback. Tighten it up. Okay, all right, getting there. Okay. Farthest man on this side, that direction, this direction, right at 10 yards. And then everything's condensing on a run, and you're zooming out, at this point. So I do like, again, not a lot of camera movements after the play. At least the coaches can evaluate off of what they have. Okay. There we go. This is much better. Yes. This is what I'd like to see all game long. Okay. A lot of extraneous movements in there, but I liked how tight it was. Special teams could be tighter, but no movement. That works. Okay. Special teams, kickoff. Big kick. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Did they fix it? I kind of feel like they did. Right? Kind of like feel like they might have fixed that issue from the opening kickoff. Let's see it. From the sideline. It's better. It's significantly better than it was on that opening kickoff. Maybe they just didn't set it up beforehand and then they realized it afterwards. Cool. All right. That works. I like fixing problems, right? If you've got a problem, fix it. All right. Okay. Zooming out. A lot of extra space. A lot of space behind the kicker. Okay, this is really the meat of what I want to see. 21 guys, right? Kicker's done his job. He's definitely getting down into it. And he's going to engage into the frame again if he's doing his job and getting into coverage, right? And so, like, this isn't bad once you zoom in here. Okay, what I would say is keep this guy in the shot and not these guys. Which he does. He's got everybody in the shot at this point. This is 22 guys. Right? Nobody's dropping out. Until right there. But yeah. Okay. All right. At least we're putting all the extra space to the defensive side. And no extraneous movements after the play. I like it. Actually, I like this. Okay? This is good. And then look at that. Nothing, no motion whatsoever. There's no reason to. So they're recognizing that the play is not extending the boundaries of their frame. Ball's on the ground. Saw it. Okay. I actually really like that play from a filmer's perspective. Okay. Oh, that motion. Okay. Yeah. I don't know where that comes from. At other times seeming to read what's going on the field so well. And it seems like just a knee-jerk reaction to the ball being snapped going backwards. Not sure. Okay, that one, they just dropped a guy out while he's out in a route. Don't want to do that. Okay, this one's got extra referees, sky cam, extra space behind the quarterback, and then coming right to left to cut it down after the snap. Right, just go ahead and cut it down before the snap. Put it right here. Put it right here, and then set up all this, and then don't even move it after that if you don't have to. Okay, really tight to the top edge here, and a lot of space to the bottom. That can be kind of hard to watch at times. If I'm the guy up here, I feel like I'm barely counted in the play. But keeping everybody in the shot and letting it play out as best as you can. All right, sky cam, not a player. Okay. All right, that guy at the top of the screen is getting cut out while leaving a ton of extra space at the bottom. All right, if you're gonna cut a guy out, at least have a good reason for it. Show me something else somewhere else. Show me more detail or something. Don't just chop off a guy's head up here so that I can see the 10-yard line. And the referees. Okay. All right. Here we go. Cutting out players. Again, same thing. Cutting off the guy at the top of the screen. He's getting no love from the filmer right now to show this. Which the plays go in that direction, but this guy up at the top of the screen he still has a role in this play, right? The quarterback might look this way and say, "Nah, forget it. I'm going up top, right? I'm going to the right," And at that point, I want to know what this player did to get open for the quarterback to decide, no, I'm not going here, I'm going here. Some of my favorite times as a video coordinator were Sunday mornings watching film with Coach D Sunday morning, and him talking about what he's going to talk to his quarterback about, and say, hey, like, you missed this, right? And he would explain that to me, and that was always a fun time. He obviously had a different perspective than I have on what we're doing here, but my perspective is, how can I get him better video to be able to make these evaluations? What the quarterback was doing was kind of outside my pay grade, right? But I look fondly on those times when I would sit down and watch game film with him, and be able to see that the results of what I was doing, all the extra effort that I was putting in, was going to mean better evaluations for our team. I love this play. Just my knee-jerk reaction is that this looks really good. Okay, there's a lot of space to start here, but what do they do with it? They let it fill in. Okay. Tight on this side. Yeah, they still got a lot of extra space on this side, but they used it well, and then it does fill in towards the end of the play. So I don't hate it. Oh, yeah, baby. I love that. Man, that's exciting. Great job, filmer, to catch on to a major shift in how that play was turning out. Right, did not go to plan for the quarterback. Whew. I mean, this is Skycam footage, right? This is Goodyear blimp style. Yeah, we're way out there. %70. Right here. Keeps going. Keeps going. No reason to see any of that. A lot of space behind the defender as well. All right. Special teams. Motion. Okay. Should get tighter at this point. Okay. Pretty wide, but I got to see where the ball landed, so that's a positive. That's half the battle. I know where the ball landed, and knowing is half the battle. All right. Okay. All right. So this looks good. This is tight. We got extra space behind the quarterback, and we're about to lose this guy, right? We lost him, and we to see this guy, this referee, and then we lost several players at this point. It wouldn't take much to keep these guys in the shot. The rest of the shot's pretty tight, and a lot of things with all the movement on the field was staying true to what they're seeing on the field. Okay, good, great. to start, I'm seeing the referee back here. I don't want to see the referee. And guess what? He makes the adjustment and drops it back this way. Come on, drop it on in. Bring it on in. There it is. Okay? This is good. Right? This is a nice tight setup to start. Top to bottom, can't get any tighter than that. All right, but then going that backwards motion back to the backfield, and then dropping guys out here. Ultimately, not terrible. Very usable, and getting fairly good detail out of it. Yes, this is it. Okay, this is where we need to be all game, right? Okay, initial movement, right to left. Okay, and then slight zoom out, just enough to keep up with them. Pretty close behind the quarterback, not bad. Solid. This guy down at the bottom gets cut loose a little early to show a little extra on the top. I keep him in a little bit longer and then zooming in at the end. Love it. Okay. Yeah. This is the best setup I've seen yet. Okay, dropping out the safety. All right, so I get it. It's a run. You want to go ahead and start to zoom in, but this safety's response is part of the play, right? We want to see what point he digs in and starts coming this direction. He's going to change direction, and here he comes, right? What are these guys doing up here? I don't know. It doesn't really matter at this point. We're kind of more focused here, but I want to see at least what this guy does. The safety's role is so vital to everything that happens in a defense. So you got to see it, right? And the quarterback's role beyond pitching the ball here, nothing, right? So we see the quarterback and we're losing the safety. I would swap that. I would lose the quarterback and see the safety. Okay. All right, a lot of extra space. Not a real great setup. And oh, goodness. Okay. All right. So let's just bring up the box before we even start here. Setups could be right about there. That could be a nice tight setup, still giving a little bit of space behind the running back, and then the remaining space goes behind the defense, right? Just enough space to keep it comfortable behind the running back. And then that would be 80%. Okay. 80%, there's still 20% of your screen that you could be using for football. And then just here, it just kind of goes off the rails, right? The pass is thrown, and we're just going to show the crowd right in front of us instead of the players on the field. I disagree that should happen. Yes. Okay. Initial movement is left to right, no zooming. Okay. There is a first motion that is a left to right pan. Okay. Tighten this up again. Left to right. Good. And then to start the zoom. That's correct. That's the right way to do it. But then zooming back out to gain more space behind the quarterback again, while dropping out guys on the bottom right side, right? So this guy's just going to run off the edge while we get extra space behind the quarterback for no reason. good. Run recognition. As soon as he hands off the ball, he's like, okay, just gave it away. I'm going to stop zooming out. And I like that. Hands it off, zooming out. Oh, nope, that's a run. Okay, stop right where I'm at. All the extraneous movements after that, there's a lot of back and forth and all that. Just leave it. No, 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 no. And then a little bit of zoom in at the end. That's fine. Okay. All right. Pass. Ball. Okay. Whoa. A lot of extra space here. I'm going to throw it out there. I'm saying there's 60%, if you were to actually mark this off. And you guys might be picking up on that at this point, seeing it for yourself, right? By the time you tighten this up, I can still leave space behind the quarterback and behind the defense. This should be where it's at. 70, about 68%. And then, just widening out from there. All right. A lot of times if you don't set up correctly to start, the rest of the play is going to be all kinds of inverted, right? So if you're out wide, then you need to zoom in when you should be zooming out, right? You should be staying tight and then zooming out. In order to stay tight to the rest of the play. This is a whole lot of space behind the defense on it. Extra point. Okay. All right. Special teams, kickoff. Not bad. This isn't too far off from what I'm seeing from a lot of filmers in the NFL. There are definitely filmers that are doing it way better than this, but they're about 50% are doing it just about that good. All right. Oh boy. All right. Run recognition. This is all run all day long. Nothing happening here. No reason to zoom out. And we're getting real big here. All right. Less than 50%. Okay, set up. All right. So it goes back to, if we're going to drop somebody out, why do we do it? Do we have to? Is it, necessary? Do we run out of zoom space? No, we just wanted to keep an extra 20 yards behind the quarterback. Okay, they did zoom out to pick him back up again. But still, 20 more yards, all you got to do is pan over. So, to be clear, the initial movement is to move over. As that receiver vacates this space, the quarterback is going to become the farthest person to that side, unless somebody loops around, right? If somebody loops real deep to get to the quarterback, that can happen. But you'll see it, you'll see it happening right in front of you. As this receiver jets down this way, this side of the frame should adjust to the edge of the quarterback, and then as soon as you see him taking his drop, you can anticipate that and stop a little short, or you can zoom up on it and then start to zoom, or pan over to him and then start to zoom out from there. Okay, yes. All right, we've got some right to left movement before the snap, which is good. All right, and then it continues after the snap, which is exactly what I was just saying, right? Okay. I actually like that play a whole lot. Really wide on the punt. Okay, once you find the returner on that side, stop going that direction. Right? Okay, got him. Okay, just adding an extra 20 yards behind him. And there's a lot of room for for grace on a punt. The amount of ground that you have to cover and keeping those players in the frame, and then anticipating where that ball is going to land and when it's going to land and where the returner is going to be when he does it. It's a very challenging thing. There's a lot of moving pieces, and not all of them are on your screen, right? You're looking into the camera screen, and you're not seeing where the returner is. You have to anticipate and trust that you've got the experience to get there and find him. And if you don't, you're going to miss out on a lot of good statistics for your punter that they're going to need in order to verify their hang time and their punter distance. All right, so there's a lot of room for grace on that, but not 20 yards. At some point you just gotta say, okay, that's far enough. Okay. Moving backwards. Okay, everything should be moving this direction. Offense moving this direction. The defense is backing up to start before they even, recognize what's happening on the play. So look at that, already backing up, right? Just like I said, everything's moving left to right, left to right, left to right. Camera's moving right to left. The opposite of everybody on the field. It needs to make sense. From a football perspective, it needs to make sense. Okay? If there is a justification, a play fake that you bit hard on and you lost a guy because the play fake was that good, that's justifiable. Right? There's definitely ways to correct it, but it's completely understandable. And not going to happen every single play. It's going to be a once a game thing if you're really biting hard on play fakes for no good reason, right? But if you're just going the opposite direction of everybody on the field, that's not justified under any circumstances. Neither is zooming out. Right here. I don't know what the reason for this would be. Just to gain all this extra space. Okay. A lot of extra space. Definitely using it. All right. Oh. Okay. What happened here? Okay. Looks like it is. All right. Okay. Right there. Our frame was at 50% or less before. Probably about 40 now. Okay. $45. Okay. Okay. A lot of extra space before the play starts. Pretty wide. Okay. Referee is not an extra player. No need to keep him in the shot. And then cut him out, right? So as soon as the play starts, they're like, oh, I don't need to show the referee anymore. Well, you never really did. Is the main thing, right? So you can just skip that part and just show the players. Show the all 22, right? 22 guys. If you got 23, can you get rid of him? Okay, really wide behind the place kicker. If the ball is blocked and goes the other direction, you can certainly account for it on the fly. Out of the 99.999% of the time that doesn't happen, you just set it up without the extra space behind the behind the kicker. Okay, good, good, yes. All right. A lot of good things happening there. I like that. Okay, good. Getting a tight setup here. Tight to behind the offense is great. Okay. The downward motion doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Moving the camera down when the ball is going to the top of the screen. Right, it's going to the left of the center, and we're coming down this direction. Okay. On the whole, I mean, it it was a good setup, and that carries a lot of things later on, right? If you set it up correctly and everything happens within the frame on a run and you don't do a whole lot of movements, it's kind of natural that everything's going to sit right there, and you can get away with a lot of things that happen, you know, within that frame. This is going the opposite direction, right? So it's not a run, so you're not zooming in, you're zooming out with it, and it's a matter of keeping pace with the defense as they're backing up, right? Keeping him in the shot. Gaining space behind the quarterback doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you know, it is good to keep the safety in the shot. This doesn't help. Okay, I'd rather see the guys that we just dropped out here. Right? There was other guys that were right in the shot up here. And they're not doing much back there, so you know, at this point, I'll just go ahead and zoom in, but not showing as much of the sidelines. Okay, 2-minute warning. Okay, I don't hate it. There was extra space behind the defense, but all the movement that took place during that play was accurate to what was happening on the field, and I like that. Okay. All right, cutting guys out and getting extra space at cutting guys off the top, right? To show extra guys at the bottom, to show the sidelines at the bottom. Right. Okay. Yep. Okay. So I think I figured it out. I think there has been a time when this filmer may have filmed more of the stadium on the far side than you would want, right? And the correction that was made, you know, the suggestion was, hey, we don't want to see any part of that far sideline or the crowd behind it. And so there's been an overcorrection the other direction, right, to keep it way low, to the point of showing the sidelines on this side and cutting out players on at the top of the frame. It seems like that's what's happening, and I understand the sentiment there. If you've been told, you know, to not do something and then you overcorrect, right, while losing players that direction just to show a bunch of extra space this way. All right. Okay, pretty good setup to start, and all the movement makes sense. Any sort of camera motion that we see makes sense. There's a good amount of space behind the defense, but they let it fill in. There's not a whole lot of zooming out. And then at this point, we're in a pretty good space right here, right? Not bad. Midfield going in before half. 59 seconds to go. Yep. Okay. Wasn't real tight, but I like that they did leave the extra space to the defensive side. All right. Punting. Oh. Okay. A lot of extra space, but we got those punter statistics, and that's what counts. Definitely want to see the other 21 guys on the field that are, you know, working hard to get down to make that tackle. right? Or to get into coverage, and the other guys that are trying to keep him from doing that. Okay. 10 yards behind this receiver. Exactly 10 yards, right? He's back foot's on the 10, and there's the goal end zone. So that's 10 yards, right? What happens here is right to left movement, and then picking it up right there. Now we've got a guy here in this space within 5 yards. That's correct. This is correct. This is good footage. This is top caliber NFL films right here. This is what I want to see from NFL footage. Awesome. This is what I used to wake up on Sunday mornings to watch NFL Breakdown with Ron Jaworski breaking down footage like this. I love it, right? Boom. Okay, let's just bring up the box just for comparison's sake to what we've been looking at so far. That. Oh, there's still a receiver here at the bottom of the screen. So that. When you put that in the corner, bring up some percentages, 90 to 95%. 90%. Love it. Fantastic. Okay. All right. Got a lot of space behind the quarterback. He's set up at the 15, and I see behind the end zone. All right. Good. Yeah. 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 All right. 2 in a row. Excellent. Just keep that momentum going. We'll see more of that. Okay. A lot of space behind the defenders. Okay. Not bad. Okay. Fourth and 10. Punting. Okay. This is where it gets challenging. Keep that punter in the shot just a little bit. And then zoom out to the sky. Whew. No, don't do that. Stay tight on the 21 guys after the punter releases the punt. Get on those 21 guys running down the field. Get tight on them. Let the punter stay in the shot just in case somebody runs into him and you get that penalty. Okay, this looks good. Yeah. Yes. That's what's up. That's fantastic. Yep. All right, we got 3 in a row. 3 excellent plays in a row from this filmer. keeping it on the ground. Run recognition immediately. Does not zoom out at all. Love it. Okay. Right to left. Good. Run recognition. It's good evaluation. Okay. It can be tighter, but that was some good footage to be able to evaluate from. A lot of space at the bottom, a lot of space behind the running back, and still a lot of space and just a lot of space. Okay, a lot of space behind the quarterback. Yep, cut it down. Keep going. Keep going. Not bad. That works. Okay, you can see that was good evaluation footage, but it can be better, right? And you can just keep refining it and working it out. Yeah. Okay. Right here. Okay. We're within 10 yards. This is a good frame right here. Right? It took most of the play to get there, right? From here to there to here to there. You know, right at the end it actually looked to be good frame, but just a lot of empty space in between those the snap and getting to that point. Alright, starting out wide and zooming out from there is not a good plan. Okay, can be tighter, but what you do with it from here? Are you going right to left? No, but you made no movements whatsoever, and I'll count that as a win, right? Sometimes we get in our own way and try to do more with it than we really need to. Okay. All right. A lot of space behind the running back. And then going left to right, which is the opposite direction. A lot of space behind the kicker. But no movement. I'll count that as a win. Okay. A little wider on the kickoff, but looking good after that. Still bottom heavy, leaving a lot of green space at the bottom of the frame and cutting guys off at the top of the frame. Okay. A lot of space to the defense, but top to bottom, there's not a whole lot of room to zoom in that much more. If you're going to have extra space, have it on the defensive side instead of the offensive side. About 2/3 to the defense. Setting the ball in there. Okay, well, not that much space, right? Okay, a little bit of motion to fill it in. Alright. Okay, so this is 15 yards behind the defense, but the motion does cut that down. Pre-snap adjustment from the defense. And he fills in that space, and he's within 10 yards now. And then no movement beyond that, and except for zooming in. So I get it. Same play, similar adjustment from the defense. Oh my goodness. That dude got stuck. Okay. Alright. Drop the punter. Flow with everybody. Okay. Let's just take a look here. I say 21 guys, but there's 5 or 6 of them that really don't need to be involved. These are the guys I want to see, right? And who is that? I have no idea. Who's that? Not a clue. Couldn't tell you. It's Ant Farm. Okay. Now, zooming up on it, now I can start to see them. That's what I want to see. Okay, good. Good tight frame. Let's go. Good setup. Staying with everybody. That's it. This is it. This could be every play, right? There's nobody stopping this filmer from doing this on every play. This is it. Oh. All right. That play. That play 1,000 times. One after the other. Get on up there. Okay. So, this looks good. I say, within 5 yards, you're in excellent territory. Within 10 yards, you're at least serviceable. It's good evaluation at that point. The downside of being at 10 yards is that there's really no room for error at that point, right? You better be spot on from that point on, because just a little bit of zooming out and you're already off your game. This is fantastic, right? Again, takes a little bit of time to get there, because up until that point we've got a lot of space behind the quarterback. We've got 2 extra from the referees, but once they come over and get into this pocket, this is good, right? This is the zone we want to be in. And then zooming in, so like right there, that's 22 guys. 22 guys with no extra space on the left and right edges. That is textbook, how to film football. Midfield going in, 4:47 in the third quarter. Nice. Awesome. I like it. Okay, tightening up. Still a lot of space behind the defense, but what they did with it top to bottom, there wasn't a whole lot of room to zoom in. So what they did with it after the play, which was not very much, which is fine. If there's no reason to zoom in or zoom out or move left or right, then don't. Okay, drop those referees, tighten up to the football players on the field. All 22. Keep the safety in the shot. Okay, right there. If you're gonna drop out the safety's motion, at least do it, when you don't have any space behind the quarterback. Yep. Okay. This is left to right movement going backwards again. Gaining so much extra space that's completely unnecessary. All right, same thing here. Okay, if the play's going right to left, your camera should be moving right to left. sounds weird to say it, but sometimes it just needs to be said. Oh, ball. Okay. Got the ball back. Kept it. All right. Okay. Nobody left the frame. There seems to be a whole lot of extra green space at the bottom of the frame for no good reason. Pressing down heavy on the top of the frame and then leaving a lot of space behind the quarterback again. Okay. Fourth quarter. Okay, like this setup, this pre-snap, this may have been as good of anything that I've seen today. After the snap was a run, cutting out guys pretty early in it. I'd love to be able to keep some of them in the frame a little longer, but it worked. I saw what I needed to out of that play. Special teams, extra point was fine. Good setup. No movement after the snap. And then kickoff here. It's fine. This Bills kicker is a lot more involved than a lot of kickers that I see in the NFL. He really gets down there and gets into the play, which I love, right? But I'm not counting on it. I'm not expecting it on from everybody. Okay, I like that. Some good framing in there. Okay, this too. The right to left movement to start. Okay. That's what I'm seeing initially. This initial movement right to left. Right? And then starting to zoom out from there. Right to left. Okay, don't show those guys. Keep tight here. Everybody's moving this way. Camera moves this way. Right? And by doing so, you don't have to zoom out as much. Alright, now, top to bottom, there's still a lot of extra space up here. This is what I want to see. So, getting a lot of extra footage there. From behind the quarterback to behind the defense to the top of the frame to the far sidelines. Okay. That was not a good setup to start, but everything after that was good. Okay, zooming out pretty aggressively to start. We're into blimp mode here. Man, that is way up there. Ant farm. Okay, those special teams players, they're working really hard out there. I want to be able to see that and evaluate it as much as anybody else on the field. The play looked pretty good. Okay. There's room to tighten this up. Let's see what they do with it. Solid. I'll take it. Kept the quarterback in. They had space to the defense and not a lot of space behind the quarterback. And they made the adjustment to make sure he didn't run off the frame. Right? That's exactly what I want to see. This one had more space behind the quarterback again. 4th and 11, we're punting again. Okay, punter. Oh boy. We just went straight to the moon on this one. No reason to stay in there, just zoom out as far as you can and see what happens. Okay. No play. Okay. Get a good tight setup. Right to left. Not bad. I can evaluate from that. I can see routes. I can see players making plays and room for improvement, but we can evaluate from that. Okay? Solid. Alright, not a great setup to start, but filled in every bit of space without any knee-jerk reactions or zooming out indiscriminately. Okay, yes. Okay, alright. So, everything's right. That right to left movement and then zoom out, right? Because the right to left movement is at the same pace as the receiver, right? Receiver, left to right. If you didn't have this space, you really wouldn't have to do that, but there we are, okay? And right there. Now we're just gonna stop zooming out even though people are still running down the field and then they run off the frame. And then going backwards to see the quarterback. So losing guys in routes is never a good plan. There is a fix for it, right? Part of it is just there's so much extra space to make so many unnatural movements, right? Unnecessary or unreasonable movements. You don't have a reason for it because there's so much space, because the very first thing you have to do is cut out all this space, right? And then when you do that, if you come over, now you got a bunch of space over here, right? And now what do you do with all that space? Well, we should zoom in, but everybody's running routes, but you should be zooming out, right? But now we're zooming in because we got extra space when we should be zooming out with routes. Now we're zooming in and then cutting guys out who are running the routes, right? So it's by getting a good setup to start, you can cut out a lot of the awkward mistakes that you might make from having too much space. A lot of extra space. I can only ignore that space behind the quarterback for so long before it becomes a problem, right? The referees have their own evaluation tools. They do not need to be in these shots. And part of it is that they would want to evaluate what's actually happening on the field. And so we got to show it to them, right? And we got to do a better job at showing them what's going on the field. Ant farms and blimp shots don't get it done. Dropping out the safeties isn't helpful, right? Dropping out the safety, is there anything we can do while dropping out the safety? Well, yeah, you can cut out the referees. Keep the safety, cut the referees. That should be on a t-shirt. Third and 18, 8:33 to go in the fourth quarter. Looks good. Fourth and 18, we're punting punter in the shot for a brief moment. And then he points to the sky. Ball comes down out of the sky into the returner's hands. Okay, it works. Okay, a lot of extra space. We're moving down. It's possible that the camera isn't, the tripod's not quite tightened into the position where you can just leave the camera, and the extra weight of the camera is enough to push it down. It's heavy enough to make the fluid head slide down just a little bit. Okay, and so you spend the entire game fighting to keep it up from dropping. It's possible that that's what's causing the extra space at the bottom of the frame, but from what I'm seeing here, it's just making those adjustments to make sense. And there's the punt, hitting the punter, right? I saw it, right? And then zooming out to see where the ball lands, and then zooming back in to stay tight with everybody. Excellent. I like it. Okay, I like that play because I got to see what happened there. I know that there was definitely some impact with the punter. Whether they called it or not, I guess they didn't. But that's a separate issue. They can see clearly, after the game, whether or not that was running into the kicker or something. I'm sure there's a name for it. No call, I guess. So, there you go. All right. Excellent. I'll take it. Tight setup. Moving with people. Movements made sense. Right. They did drop some guys out the bottom left side, but the ball was away at that point, so we'll count it. This looks good too. Yes. Everything about this is fantastic. Let's go, Jets. Got a string of excellent here. What if we did that every play? What would it look like? Be tighter than that. Okay. But not far off. This is a very difficult stadium to film from, I can tell. Definitely going to be a challenge from this height. Okay. But all the more reason why you got to do everything just right in order to keep it from getting real wonky real fast. Okay. Again, the extra space behind the quarterback is just causing so many problems for this footage. It's a problem. And, I mean, okay. Let's take a second here. Right. Ball's in the center. An entire third of your screen has absolutely nothing in it. Okay. When I say that the extra space behind the quarterback is causing a problem, it means you're only using 2/3 of your screen. Right, top to bottom, plenty of room to zoom this in. This should be where it's at. Two-thirds, 66%. Is that exactly 2/3? Is that exactly 66%? and then zoom out from there. Okay. Setting it up correctly, getting a good start, good setup again. I gotta see it again. Now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. Right? Ball's in the center. An entire third of the screen. There's room to get this right. I've seen it. I've seen it in this game. Okay, good. That's the right direction. A little bit of shift. Oh, let's go back. What? Okay. Special teams. Set it up, get a good shot, don't move it. Perfect. I like it. It was good. Onside kick. This is a first I've seen from this season. Okay. I like it. Showed me everything I need to. Probably could be tighter to start, but I could say that just about every play on this film. Okay. That works. Yeah. 2-minute warning. Kneeling. Okay, it's a gimme. And a backflip. Alright, 3 backflips in a row to finish that one off. Alright, let's just run it by the numbers. There were 149 plays, 93 positive. Okay, the initial positive score, 62%. There was a bonus of 19, excellent. 19% were excellent, which gives you a 1.9 bonus. Adding to that, yeah, your total comes to 64.3% for the game. Obviously, the biggest issue we saw was zooming out really wide, and then the second biggest issue, and I think that probably leads to a lot of things downstream from that, is just getting set up correctly. If you really want to see how to make improvements to this footage, there's several other teams that I would recommend you take a look at on the Cameraman Grades channel. To see what they're doing and see what you can do to hone this in. And this is week 2. Hopefully the Jets filmer had plenty of opportunities to evaluate this and improve between now and the end of the season. So until next time, this is Cameraman Grades.